Welcome back to Murder Therapy with Doll Talk and Cousin Ashley.
I'm changing my name.
Why?
I don't know.
That's what everybody knows you as.
I know. It's just, you ever have your mom tell you that when you say mom so many times? That's it. I'm changing my name.
Yeah, but it's a cool thing to be. Listen, all right, I'm
Cousin
not tooting
Ashley.
my own horn or anything, but I love when it's like when Mom found out I was trending. Okay, let's talk about that for a second.
Oh,
She goes,
Jesus.
She goes, Are you a celebrity? And I was like, No, I wouldn't say I'm a celebrity. Am I well known in the social media realm? Yes. So, not tooting my own horn or anything, but it's pretty badass to be known as Doll Talk's cousin Ashley. So I
Oh,
wouldn't change your name.
I'm flattered. That's why we have
Yes.
shirts. Like we showed you with
Yeah, they
Mary Lynn.
do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody
Yes.
does. Heidi's got one. The other cousins you guys haven't really got to hear about.
Yeah,
Adams.
yeah. I know. I would love to have an episode where we can integrate our family.
Oh, Lord. They're not ready for that.
Um, Yeah, y'all aren't ready for
We
that.
won't do that to
Nobody's
them.
ready for that, but yeah, it's and just make it a surprise episode. I think it would be great. Just go with it.
I think like we don't do a case. We just kind of bullshit. But I think more so it'd be like Heidi mom and your mom because that's who they hear about all the time.
I don't know. No offense to Adam, if Adam listens, I
I
don't know
li-
how to do on here.
I'm sorry, Adam. Oh, he'd be a
I
big goofball.
yes,
Adam's my
he
older
would be
brother,
a
and he's a
goofball, but
goof. We love
yes,
him.
Adam's great. And I'll be honest. I don't know how my brother would do on here.
Oh, your
My
brother,
brother is
he'd be a goofball
he's
too.
very he would be to a degree. He's very much introvert,
Yes,
where I am not. And um, yeah, so I don't know. This is an experiment. We shall, you know,
we shall see where this goes.
experiment. We shall experiment this
We
experiment.
we haven't done a guest yet, and honestly, I think I'm so nervous because we just well, we're going on a good amount of episodes where we've been able to just log on and record. I'm
Don't
scared.
jinx it.
I'm
Don't
scared to fuck
jinx
it up. Knock on glass to save my ass. Okay. Now my dog's like,
I've
whoop.
always heard knock on wood, but it doesn't. What does wood rhyme with? Like, I'm like,
Nothing. There's a girl that I work with.
nothing.
I freaking love her to death, but she says knock on glass to save my ass. So we're
I
rolling
like
with it.
it.
Me too.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, real quick, some updates, some housekeeping.
Ooh.
Um, yes, some housekeeping. Well, I guess you really wouldn't call it housekeeping. Just some updates. That I wanted to throw out there. We know that unfortunately TikTok could potentially be banned.
I
Doll
know.
Talk is now officially on Facebook. I didn't think that day would ever happen, but I am now on Facebook. So if you are not
Yay!
following the Doll Talk
Do
Facebook
it.
page, yeah, do it. Not just Murder Therapy. Murder Therapy is also on there, but Doll Talk is also on there. And I strongly encourage you to because I think it's safe to say now. Me and my husband Ashley knows about. I've kind of about it on big things are coming for Doll Talk. So in 2025, we will have merch, some things as far kind of like a metaphysical store, will, except we're starting off. So
You're
be on the
starting
lookout.
to
So
go
make
in
sure
and
you
out.
guys
Do you want to here back up a little bit or turn it down a little bit?
back turn it down.
Yeah,
Is that
maybe.
better?
Um,
Is is that better?
yeah, we can still hear you.
Is
It's just when you get a long span, it's just cutting it out, and I want to make sure they hear your pretty voice.
Wow, that's weird. Okay, well
Mhm.
I kind of adjusted something, so I'm sorry if it.
How dare
Yeah,
you?
but it. So we are starting our own metaphysical store. That's on the way. So just in case something is to happen to TikTok, which I'm being optimistic, I'm thinking that the TikTok gods above are going to be like, surprise, this is what we have
Mm,
for us. I'm more upset that the government isn't doing anything right now about this drone problem, but we're worried about TikTok. Like,
listen,
We are living in the stupidest time right now.
This may be stupid. I just have to ask because I've been hearing all about these stupid ass drones. And the government claims they don't know what they are, and they're not government. This is what they say.
Yes, they do.
I know they do. And I was watching a clip from The View, and it said, somebody said, I'm shocked that nobody shot one down to just like look it over and investigate it. And they're like, don't do that. It's like a federal offense. And I'm like,
It is.
if they're not military, what does it matter?
I
Is that a
don't
dumb question?
know.
That's a dumb question.
Again, no, it's not a dumb question. So if I have learned anything working for the state, okay, I'm not federal level, but I'm state. I have to say, you can't always use logic in our field because I'm like, but this would make sense. And they're like, yes, that's why we don't do it. That's not what they say, but that's like what, when I'm going to my higher ups, they're like, that's why we don't do it because that's logic. You got to think you're working for the state, blah, blah, blah.
She
Anywho,
works for the state. She knows what they are. She won't tell us.
yeah. I'm going to tell you what they are. Didn't you watch the TikTok I did? I talked about our grandpa. Yes, because my papa he would tell me right now, he would be like, Jody, there's no such things as ghosts. That's a bunch of Houdini nonsense, your imagination plays all the things. But he would sit here and argue with you all day long that UFOs are real and that he saw them. And I mean, he continued that story till the day that he died.
I heard it 1,000 times.
I know he'd be like, me and Kimberly and Steve and Betty all saw this big thing, and he would talk about all the lights and how slow it went. But according to the girls, it is UFOs. But the government, I 100% believe that the government has more insight than what they're saying it is.
I believe it too.
Listen, I just got to throw this out here. I don't know if you saw it yet, Ash. I don't know if y'all have seen it. I want to know what y'all seen. But these damn things are coming up out of the ocean. Did you see that video?
And they're spraying stuff. What is it?
Listen, I'm fine with... Listen, if this other galaxy wants to come pay us a visit, which you're making a sad mistake, we're not that interesting. Like,
I just hope whatever they're spraying is good for my skin.
Whatever they are, okay? Flying all over the place, right? Fine, whatever. I let it go. It's kind of creepy, whatever. When this news anchor got it on video, about 50 of them come up out of the ocean. I was like, you crossed lines. Like, I can deal with the sharks and the jellyfish and even the mer people if they're real, but I can't deal with drones coming out of the damn ocean. That's too much for me. Like,
I can coexist. It's just everything is so altered anymore with AI and stuff. Like, I just don't know what to believe anymore. I don't want to say I don't believe. Obviously, they're here. I believe in aliens, but I just always feel like our government.
Well, we can't be
sneaky.
The only beings within this galaxy. You can't tell me that. Like, so I'm very curious your guys' whole drone thing.
On the news of, yes, please tell us, because it's a hot topic on TikTok. But I do want to talk about, because it's on the murder spectrum here. They just, I know all of our followers. I know and hold hope that they are Dexter fans. Yeah, and they just launched.
Can I tell?
They just launched that new one, and I am obsessed.
Can I admit a sin to you?
This comes up when I talk about Dexter? Oh my gosh.
I have never watched Dexter.
What? Oh, you need to do it. That's your assignment. I watch all these crazy document.
And then my boss's boss asked me, he's asked me this numerous times. And I think he's getting bothered that I haven't watched this yet. I don't know if he listens to this.
Just given who you are, I'm shocked.
You can't write me up for this, Matt. Like, but he's like, I think it's called the Pope. Is it the Pope? I think. I don't know. But this is how he presented it to me, and I don't know if I should be offended or not. But he's like, it's something weird. He's like, it's like psychology and paranormal, and they bring person, and the priest is determining if the person is possessed or if it's mental illness or, all these things. He's really weird. I like it. And I'm like, what are you trying to tell me, Matt? Like, I'm like,
What the fuck? What is it?
I don't know.
Oh,
It's some show, and he's asked me about it like 5 times, and I haven't
listen.
watched it yet.
Dexter, though. I
But
mean, you like true crime, and obviously this is a show
I do.
that's fake, but he's a serial killer that has morals. Like, and he
Yeah.
follows rules about who he kills. And he basically kills other killers. And it's oh, I love it. I love
Well, it's
it.
kind of like Saw in a weird sense.
It
Like, I like
yeah,
the Saw
I
series.
love the Saw
Okay.
movies. But yeah, it actually is. And oh god, and he's a blood splatter analyst for the Miami PD. So he's like,
Ooh.
yeah, oh,
So
it's
he's
so good.
already
He's
in,
in
like,
there.
so, okay.
Yeah,
Maybe I need to check this out.
it's so good.
But I like being told that versus, it's really weird, Jody. It's right up your alley. And I'm like, what are you trying to tell me? Like,
No, this is I don't. That sounds weird, but it is kind of both are up your alley. So yeah,
no, it really is. And he's like, I figured it would be something you like. You like that weird stuff. And I was like, wow, thanks.
in
But
all
anywho,
directions. Yeah, I
yes,
need to
in all
know.
directions.
I need to know how this case ends. So let's cut to
Yes.
the chase here.
So we're going to be talking about a lot, okay? So I left people hanging for a whole week.
Badly.
I know, and people gave me hell in my live stream, and they're like, "How can you do that to us?
It was a
Like,
good
why?
cliffhanger.
Why
It
did you?"
was.
Yes, the cliffhanger. So we're going to talk about the aftermath. So Jesse, Jason, and Damien were all incarcerated. All of them given life, with the exception of Damien. He was given the death penalty. Okay,
Yeah.
for something they have nothing to do with. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the aftermath, okay, and what happens with them. But we're also going to be talking about other suspects that have came up in people's eyes,
Oh God. Okay.
in these theories. Yes, get ready, get ready. So it's a lot. So we're going to travel to 1996. Okay. Obviously the boys are incarcerated at this time. They had been going through the process and filing appeals, which were getting denied. They're really putting up a fight because they didn't do this. They're not responsible for the death of these three little boys, but obviously, their police officials, their law officials felt otherwise. So, 1996, this is when the HBO documentary Paradise Lost, which is what I told you I have
Yes.
watched, and it's very, if you choose to watch this, if
Sorry,
you've got
guys.
HBO Max or
I do.
whatever, okay, I'm gonna warn you. They show those little boys' bodies,
Oh, I'm
like
not ready.
yeah. So it's at kind of near the beginning, and it's hard.
Okay.
Um, but I understand why they do it because if you watch the documentary or you listen to the story until you know exactly what happened to them, then you can't really piece it all together. It's like you kind of have to know, even though you don't really want to know, if that makes sense. But anywho,
Yeah.
just a trigger warning. They do show that, and it's very emotional. It's very hard to see that. Very hard to see it. But
Babies.
Paradise Lost showed exactly what we just talked about a couple episodes back, how this investigation was a total clusterfuck. It was absolutely disrespectful to the three boys that was murdered, and you basically ruined three boys' lives and made them
Yeah.
look in the public side that they're these monsters when in reality they're not. And Paradise Lost did an excellent job, um
Really,
painting
they're
that
just
picture.
teenagers trying to figure out who they are.
Right. I mean, yeah, Damien was 18, but he's still like your brain does not quit growing until you're
That's
25
still
years old.
a young adult that's like you just entered adulthood. You're trying to get your footing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they did good about also kind of showing how these wrongful convictions were the result of influence from the satanic panic. Remember we talked about how
Mm.
that constructed. Now, following this documentary, people across the United States started watching, and it was infuriating the public, which is what we want. People are pissed. They're like, they didn't investigate this at all. Instead
Really?
of actually yes, they're
Okay.
like, we call this an investigation. This is like absolutely disrespectful. Not only did the public begin to get outraged, so did celebrities, such as Metallica, such as
Get
Johnny Depp,
out.
yeah, such as Eddie Vedder, Peter Jackson. The Innocence Project took them on.
Wow.
Yes, I
Wow,
mean
that's a huge
this.
deal.
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
huge deal. The Innocence Project stepped in. They're like, this is wrong. Like, and they were advocating constantly about getting media attention on this. You guys need to reopen this. They need an appeal. Like, you've got the wrong ones. And other theories were kind of being thrown out there, which we're going to talk about these other theories. So, in 2003, remember Vicky Hutchinson?
The lady that was making stuff up?
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
remember her?
Yes.
So guess what happens in 2003 with old Vicky, who, remember, is an independent detective.
She's still a CUNT.
Oh yeah, that never changes.
See you next
Um,
Tuesday.
she comes forward. She has an interview with Arkansas's Time.
Of
Okay,
course.
and she stated that every word she gave to the police was a fabrication.
She admitted it?
Yes,
Wow.
but she's not going to just
Ballsy.
admit it like I was wrong. I did this and I feel guilty. No, there has to be a reason, right? People don't just come out and
Oh,
say,
God,
"I
Vicky.
lied." Oh no. I know that I have this boy that's on death row for lethal injection. I lied. I'm sorry. No, this is a big deal, Vicky. Fuck you. Like this is a huge deal.
Yeah, blood on
You
your
you
hands.
Yes. So she basically said that the police implied to her that they needed her to do this, and if she didn't cooperate, that they would take her son away. I don't believe that. As much as we know that
She
as much
said
as,
the cops told her to lie.
yes, well, we do know that they
They
did,
manipulate to get the answers they
right?
want, not the real answers.
Not all cops. We're
Yeah,
talking about the cops in this
in this
case.
case,
Yes,
yeah.
not all cops. But so we know that they do, right? They manipulate, right?
Mm.
We know that remember they had the pictures of Damien and they're like, you seen this devil worshiper out worshiping the devil? And they're like, fuck yeah, I seen that devil worshiper worshiping the devil. He made me levitate. So, like, ridiculous nonsense and that was used in court, believe it or not. But
This sounds like the
um
freaking Salem witch trials. Like, it's so
it
terrible.
really does. It really is. Except
One person starts
even
lying, then the
back
rest start
then,
lying.
well, even back in the 1800s or I'm sorry, let's go further back. It was 1600s, excuse me. I'm like 1800s. Back in the 1600s when the Salem witch trials happened, I have to say they had a lot more class than Westminster Police
Yeah.
did. Like,
Yeah.
like they had a lot more class about it. Like, anywho, so she portrayed that she nevertheless was forced to do this because they were going to take her son. And it's like, there was no CPS investigation or anything. So what the fuck? Like, why, Vicky? That makes no sense. Now, I'm going to go more with the theory that you thought you were going to get a $35,000 because you had check fraud hanging on your head.
Ooh. Hashtag
Yeah,
Icky Vicky.
yes, she is Icky Vicky. Yes. So we're going to go to 2007.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
They're
God.
still locked up. All this stuff's coming out. You've
Wait,
got
we're
all
going
the
from
Innocence Project.
96 to 07?
We went to 90. We went from 1996 when the documentary came out. We went to 2003. That's when Vicky Hutchinson,
That's right.
puts her 2 cents out and it's like, no one cares, Vicky. Fuck off. Like, you've
We
caused
knew you
enough
were full of
damage.
shit.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. She also said that when she went to the police station, that they had Damien, Jesse, and Jason's picture on the walls, and they were using that as a dartboard. I'm sorry, but that's a little bit far-fetched, Vicky.
Well,
Just to throw all that out there. We know that they had a dark back, but I don't think they lived in the
sorry.
dark.
Jesus, that's ridiculous.
I know. I'm like, Yeah, I agree they had a dart on them, but I don't think they were legit. They're Vicky, but nice try.
She
Good
needs to stop
try.
watching movies.
Gold star. Yeah. So, all right. So now we're going to 2000.
Okay.
Okay, from 2003 to 2007. They're still locked up. Nothing's changed. They're still filing appeals. They're still going through the process. They had been interviewed. Media was going and talking to them. They were getting visits, celebrity visits, all these things. Like they had
Jesus.
a slew of support behind them, which is great. I'm glad that they did. But this is when the advancement of DNA testing was offered. We had made a huge, remarkable breakthrough in science in 2007. Okay. So CNN reported in 2009 that new DNA testing of the crime scene revealed no genetic material linking Damien, Jesse, or Jason. That's a huge deal.
Wow.
You had a very horrific crime scene, remember?
Yeah.
Granted, the big thing was where was all the blood, but you don't have any of their DNA there.
None at all.
None.
Jesus.
None. Not an not a little itty bitty inch of their DNA was linked to that
But a
at all.
red
Okay.
fiber just makes them guilty.
Yes, the red.
The
I know. Well, the thing is, there was DNA evidence that did actually link Terry Hobbs, which is Stevie Branch's stepfather.
Okay, wait. She told me to take notes, and this, I don't know where my notes are. Stevie Branch.
Yes, remember now Stevie's one of the
The
boys
boys.
that was
Stop.
yes.
Okay.
So Stevie,
Wow.
all right, so we're gonna go back to that night on May 5th,
Okay.
okay? When they went missing. Do you remember Pamela Hobbs? She was working at the Catfish
Yeah.
Diner.
She
And
told her to be
remember?
home by 4 because she had to work.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Well,
Wow.
that night that Terry went to pick her up, he didn't say anything to her. He just went back to the payphone and immediately started calling 911. Didn't say anything to her. Remember?
That's right.
That's who Terry is. Okay. So here's the thing. Stevie Branch's stepfather, they found a red hair. Okay, he did have red hair. It was in one of the boys' shoestrings. Now here's the thing. We need to also consider this. We know that the three little boys were like the three amigos. They were at each other's houses all the time.
Yeah.
It is very well possible that it could have been picked up at a time that they were visiting, right? You know, that's possible.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can't jump to the immediate worst, but we need to keep that in the back of our mind. There was also another hair that was found on a tree stump that was near the crime scene that was linked to David Jacoby, who was a friend of Terry Hobbs.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell would it be doing on a tree out there?
Near the crime scene.
The fact that they found a hair outside in the woods is
I just want to note
impeccable.
that those hairs was never brought up in court.
Oh, of course. Of course not.
Yes.
Of
Yeah.
course not. Okay.
Now Hobbs and Jacoby have actively denied any involvement in what happened to the three boys, okay? And they never were named suspects by the police ever. Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, around that same time, three eyewitnesses who lived next to one of the victims filed affidavits with the Arkansas Supreme Court, and they said they saw three victims with Terry Hobbs on the night before the police found their bodies, contradicting what Terry had said to authorities, saying that he didn't see his stepson on the day of the murders.
Ooh. Terry. Okay.
Yes.
He did it.
I love it. You're already like,
He did it.
he did it. So, Dennis Reardon, who was Damien's attorney, okay, he said they never really did an investigation, and he's absolutely correct. There never was an investigation done in this case.
Never?
Yeah, Damien's attorney, like, he still actively advocated for him. And he's like, they never did an investigation. investigation. Nothing was ever done. They
Sickening.
never interviewed Terry Hobbs. And the fact that the witness saw him and they realized for the first time it was very significant. It was like they're like, maybe that was kind of
No, you guys had a narrative in
significant.
your head and you ran with it instead of actually
Absolutely.
investigating all possibilities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They were out for a witch hunt
Yeah.
and literally got them one and took that as he was a violent religious person.
My heart
That's
hurts
what it
for these
was.
boys. There's so much of their life they can't get back. Oh,
So obviously, absolutely, we can't get time back ever.
no.
And there's not enough money in the world that could ever give them that back ever. But following the new DNA test, this is when some, remember, the family members of these three little boys, they're grieving. They had all their trust and all their faith in getting their sons just as they should.
Sure.
And here they're hearing, it was all over the media. DNA evidence is showing that these three boys are not linked. And some of these family members are like, police fucked up. They didn't kill our kids. But we have to remember, we can't be angry at
Yeah.
for what they were told. They're grieving. They just want to move on, move past this. We can't be angry at them. But at this point, they're like, this needs to be fixed. This needs to be rectified. And then they're pissed because their kids were never given an appropriate investigation. Justice wasn't served.
Yeah. There's
All
no
they
way
did
you could
was
be
one.
mad at the parents. To be truthfully honest, the
No.
parents have no control. Nobody has control in an investigation other than the police or anybody that wants to interfere with an investigation. So ultimately, the parents had no control over who they were calling a suspect or murderer. Nobody, like, how they did things. They didn't have control.
No, they didn't. Now, Mark Byers, who was Christopher Byers' father, he came forward when all this new evidence was coming out and all these interviews and all these things, coming through the media. He said the worst part about it is the three real victims that deserve justice, 3 8-year-old children, have not been given justice. He also said they got a hack job for a police investigation, and it was a rush to find someone who they said did this.
Facts.
And he's right. So, the new DNA evidence didn't immediately grant the Westminster 3, release. Okay, they still had to go through all this because, believe it or not, the judicial system still seems to think that they have substantial evidence that results in them serving their time, that they're somehow or another guilty for DNA don't lie.
Don't buy
Yeah.
it.
So, after years of legal battles, after years of public pressure, after appeals and arguments with prosecutors and the defense attorneys I've often wondered if this would be different if they had different attorneys that went in with a closed mind, that they did do this, if they still would not be behind bars. But they were granted something that's extremely rare, very unheard of, and that's called an Alfred plea. And basically what that is, they can maintain their innocence if they plead guilty and they're released. So they're not completely exonerated. Right. Right.
God.
And the thing is, they can't sue for wrongful conviction if they agree to this.
Saving
Now,
that state some money.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I know what people are thinking. If you're innocent, plead your innocence. And Damien was in an agreement to doing it. Jesse was in an agreement to do it. Jason, however, when they talked to him about it, he said, I'm not pleading guilty to something I didn't do.
Yeah.
And then he said, are you ready? He remembered that his best friend was on death row. And this wasn't a matter of dying, this is a life or death for him. And he agreed and did that so Damien would get off death row.
Wow.
They
They were
Even
backed
though
into a
he,
corner, like I said last episode. They were backed into a corner and they're getting forced to admit guilt to something they didn't like. I mean, that's a rock and a hard place if there is any. That's insane.
well, I mean, it's so you look at Jesse and Jason who had life with. I get it. Maintain your innocence. There may be some other route that you can do.
Yeah.
Damien was going to be killed by lethal
So what do
injection.
you do? I mean, you
So what do you
obviously
do?
save your friend. I would do the same thing. I
Yeah.
would, yeah. God, that's rough.
So in 2011, Damien, Jason, and Jesse entered Alfred Place. And they
Jeez.
were each sentenced to time served and they were released from prison. Yes,
Mm.
so that's wonderful. They're out, and to this day, now we're not done yet, y'all. Don't get all in a tizzy because there's
Don't
more
leave
to this
us.
story. Yeah, there's lots more to this story. And I was literally telling Ashley, I've given you guys the cliff notes because the amount of detail is absolutely unreal. And I highly encourage you all to watch the documentaries, read the book, the
Yeah.
blogs. Damien has his own book published, and
Really?
it's called Life After Death. Yes, and it's an incredible book, and he talks about what it was like being in his shoes, that type of persecution,
Good.
and how he's been doing after everything. But they, they've done everything they can to move lives. You know, they've interviewed here and there. We don't really hear much from Jesse. He stayed within West Memphis. Damien at one point moved to Salem, Massachusetts, but then relocated to New York. He also came up with what was it called? He co-founded the organization Proclaim Justice in Austin, Texas, which is a program to assist those that are wrongfully convicted.
Good for
Um,
him.
yes,
That's amazing.
he's done things. Um, Jason is doing really well. He's interviewed several times, and he's in some documentaries that they've done about the case, and he talks a lot about that Alfred plea and what went through his mind during that. And when you see him now, and you see him sitting at the table when he was being prosecuted, he was a baby.
Yeah.
Like he looks like
They
a
were
fucking
babies.
small child. They were babies, and they stripped so much time from. But he. I want to read this quote that Jason said. The evidence against us was our personal preferences in music, and he said that he remembered at one point during the trial they lifted up a record, a Blue Oyster Cult record. And John Fogelman said that that was found in Damien's girlfriend's mother's house. That's the type of evidence that they have to link them.
They
The fact
listen
that
to
he
the
has
devil's music.
right. So, how many of you all have a Blue Oyster Cult CD or song on your playlist? I want to know because you could be linked to murder for that. Just know that.
You're a murderer just
Y-
because.
yes.
Yeah.
Now. So they are still looking for full exoneration. They haven't gave up. The Innocence Project is still working with them.
Yeah, get it off their
This
records.
case is
That's
right.
yeah.
Because they're felons
Mm-hmm.
for something they didn't do. Like, yeah.
That's
So they're still
disgusting.
working on it. But
So mad.
here's the big question: if they didn't do it, who really did kill these three little boys?
Somebody who's had all this freedom when these boys took the fall for him.
Well, we're going to talk about our suspects. Okay. Yes, we're going to talk about our suspects. Who the public has kind of built this whole thing on. These documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
Other family members believe these things. And understand, I'm going to say this just to protect myself and Ashley. They are innocent until proven guilty. This is for entertainment purposes. So I just want to cover.
I
But
appreciate you so
I
much for saying that. Don't come
yes,
for us.
yeah, don't come for us. But I have my theory. I'm not going to tell you who I think it is
Theories,
because
guys. Theories.
yes, theories. I have my own theory, which we're going to ask the girls. And again, it's entertainment purposes. But anywho,
They're not always right. Just know
They're
that.
not always right. No,
So that doesn't
no,
mean they
but
are guilty if the girls say it.
yeah, that doesn't
I'm
mean that they're
scared
guilty
now.
if the girls say it. However, the paranormal knows things that we don't. I just want
Mm,
to throw that out there. But anywho, okay. So obviously, our number one suspect. Let's talk about the bloody Bojangles again. We've never identified who that was
mm-mm.
because they didn't bother to ever look into that
It's
other
like
than
this
their little
branch
swab that
of
they
the
got.
case. Yeah.
That they also lost the swab of the evidence to. Um,
Very
Yeah, so that was
professional.
never looked into. Now, remember that the blue beacon, which was a truck wash, was within just a small distance of hills. So the theory there is that whoever the Bojangles man was, the bloody Bojangles man, because he was covered in mud and he was covered in blood, was a truck driver. And they the way they explained it, like it was literally within 10 feet of Robin Hood Hills. So it's very well, what? You're
I was
laughing.
letting it, yeah, I was letting it simmer, but you said he was covered in mud, he was covered in blood. My nerdy head went to Harry Potter. You filthy mud blood. Sorry,
Oh
okay.
my God.
I'm done.
Anywho, okay, so we don't know who that man is. Nothing was ever heard of or seen of him other than that the police did a drive-through report, like literally a
Yeah.
drive-through report. So that's our number one. Okay, number two, Terry Hobbs is the suspect,
It
the
was Terry.
stepfather. I love it. She's like, it was Terry. As well as his friend David Jacoby. So we're going to talk about there's a few different scenarios. Like the story has kind of changed here and there. It's kind of like a he said, she said, all this, but I feel like I have to give it to like all the things to you in order for you all to kind of develop whatever theory you want to go with. Okay.
Lay it
I'm
out.
not saying that all of these are correct. I'm not saying that they're incorrect. I'm just telling you what people have reported. So, okay. So there was a documentary film about the 1993 killings, the West Memphis, which was produced by the well-known director Peter Jackson. This film is the um, HBO documentary.
Okay.
Okay. Um, and it suggests in this film, without making a direct accusation, like he did a very incredible job of doing this, that Terry Hobbs, the stepfather, Branch participated in the murders of the three boys. He did it without saying, yeah, Terry, but you know what I mean?
He
Like he was
said it
like, he
without
did it
saying
really,
it.
he said it without saying. Yes, he did. So the filmmakers note that the most significant piece of DNA evidence found at the crime scene was the hair found the shoestring, the shoelace.
Mm-hmm.
However, it still can be argued that it was easily transmitted at, playing at the house, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
Then we have the second hair that's found on the tree stump where the bodies were found that matched David Jacoby. David, why was your hair there?
That is really weird. And like, what relevance did he have to the boys?
He was just a friend of Terry Hobbs.
Like, to me, one, it's
There
weird.
was
Why
no
was your hair
relevance.
there?
Yeah.
Two, on the flip side, what was your motive? You didn't really have ties to that. Like, that's weird, unless you were just a weird motherfucker. Like, I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Jacoby, the friend of Terry, they had visited with one another like an hour before the boys had disappeared.
Okay.
Okay. So police also questioned the alibi given by Hobbs. Not police, excuse me, but the people that did the documentary questioned the alibi given by Hobbs that he spent the evening of the murder with Jacoby. In the film, Jacoby doubts whether he spent as much time with Hobbs that night as Hobbs suggests. Okay, so they're contradicting each other.
They did it
Filmmakers,
together. Mic drop.
well, the filmmakers also stress that Terry Hobbs had a long history of abuse, including an admitted assault to his wife and accusations of child beating and assaults on neighbors. So he's got this violent history. Okay.
Right.
Now, there was an aunt of Stevie Branch, Judy Sadler, trigger warning, okay? She accuses Terry in the film of forcing his young son to watch him masturbate and sexually molesting Stevie Amanda. Now, Amanda has denied that accusation and says
Okay.
she doesn't have any memory recollection of Terry ever doing that to her,
Hmm.
which I hope didn't happen. I genuinely mean that. Like, I don't want him. I hope
Yeah, that's
all of these
traumatizing.
things are false, right? That's very traumatizing. Um, they also managed to find a neighbor who claimed to have seen Terry with the three boys on the night of. That's something that Terry had strongly denied for years.
Yeah, that's
That
weird.
he had not seen any of them. So why are these neighbors saying they saw you, Terry?
Terry.
Um, yeah, Terry. Um, oh,
It was Colonel Mustard in the library with a lead pipe.
stop it. Now, obviously, this mix of circumstantial evidence that the film and filmmakers add the fact of another one of Stevie's aunts, Jolyn McGoffey's, alleges that she saw Terry do laundry the night of the murder, presumably to clean mud and blood off of himself.
I mean,
I
that
don't
is
know.
something to go on, but like I do
Yeah.
laundry every day.
Yes. Now, here's something else, though. Stevie had a prized pocket knife that he carried with him everywhere, apparently. Like, everywhere he went. You know, a typical boy thing. Like, they
Yeah.
have their little pocket knives. Years later, that was found in Terry Hobbs' possessions.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Now, filmmakers also claim that they had been told by a nephew of Terry Hobbs that the fact that Terry killed the three boys was closely guarded family secret. Okay. In statements under oath, the three witnesses say that Michael Hobbs told them, "My uncle killed three boys in West Memphis." John Mark Byers, who is the stepfather of Christopher Byers and initially the subject of considerable suspicion himself, which we'll talk about, is shown calling Terry Hobbs a baby killer outside of our courtroom.
Outside of the what? You were cutting out. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. Outside the courtroom.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. Now, Terry Hobbs obviously has denied all these allegations. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Of course.
Todd Moore, who's the father of the victim, Michael Moore, found the evidence against Hobbs unpersuasive. Like, he's like, I don't believe any of that. He said, my son has been over there numerous times. He's good to my son. I don't believe any of that. Like, he 100% still believes that Damien, Jesse, and Jason, the true murderers in all of this. Okay. Um, he used that argument about the hair could easily be picked up, which I agree with. I'm not neglecting that.
Absolutely,
That
it
could have
could.
happened. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. However, that doesn't explain the fact that one, Terry has this pocket knife that Stevie always had, which makes me think, why would he have not had it the day that he was killed? And two, why is his best BFF's hair on a tree near where they
Mm-hmm.
found bodies?
That's weird. It's so weird.
Make it math for me. All
Mm.
right. Yes. Um,
If Vicky can be like a self-proclaimed investigator, why can we not?
right. Well, Todd Moore told media that he said Terry Hobbs did not murder us. Like,
Oh,
he's
okay.
bound and determined that Terry
Okay.
was whatever. I mean, he's
People
free
can
to believe
be
whatever he wants to believe.
deceitful.
Now, other critics of the Hobbs as the murderer theory noted that the statements by the three young men 2 decades after the crime about the Hobbs family secret, okay, that comes up a lot, um, are 3 or 4 times removed from any original source and are far less probative than the secondhand testimony of two witnesses, as I heard Damien say. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you have direct quote coming from and the family of family secret,
Yeah.
but we can't use that. But we're gonna use that we heard, hearsay with Damien.
Right. Right.
Right. Yeah. Um. Yeah. It's a
It's
mess.
disgusting. So now you want to do things by the book?
Yeah. Now they want to do things by the book. Yeah.
Stupid.
All of a sudden they do. Now in 2013, um, the level of detail and overall plausibility of the stories told in the affidavits made it seem highly credible. Okay. Even if they do come from an admitted drug dealer and a convicted felon. That's what
Cheers.
they said. Yes, I know. On May 5th, 1993, according to both Stewart and Guy, now these are other friends of Terry Hobbs, okay? David Jacoby and two teenagers. By the way, this is about to get a little graphic for a minute. We're going to be talking sexual activity for a moment, just FYI. Not that that's a bad thing, but just trigger warning in general. But um, they apparently all these guys go to with there's an LG Hollingsworth and Buddy Lucas. They show up at this trailer park in West Memphis looking to buy marijuana. They sell the marijuana. Uh, and while Stewart sold the two boys pot, he noticed Hobbs and Jacoby kissing in the pickup truck across the street. Yes, I know. According to
Uh,
Stewart, Hobbs was bisexual with a preference for sex with young boys.
mm, bisexual is
Hobbs,
fine, but the young boys I've got a
right?
problem
hmm
with.
Hobbs stated he had invited his own 10-year-old son to pool parties and invitations which Stewart insisted his son decline.
Hmm.
Yes. Now, after they purchased this marijuana on May 5th, they were told Stewart and Buddy Lucas that they were going to pick up Hobbs and Jacoby, and the two boys drove around town getting high and drinking whiskey. They drove some dirt roads, which was by the Blue Beacon. Now, remember, the Blue Beacon is very close to Robin Hood Hills.
Yes.
At that point, according to Lucas's account, Terry Hobbs asked the two teenagers to get out and wrestle. Okay. While he and Jacoby watched. Now, while Lucas does not specifically say the wrestling soon turned into sexual activity involving him and the two men, Stewart has no doubt that this is what happened, asserting that the lowered head and shame evidence in the boy's face as he told the story made it clear that there was a lot more going on than what he was saying was. Like, his body language was saying that this is what happened. Apparently, they say during all this activity, Chris Spires, Michael Moore, and Stevie Branch happened to show up on their bike. And this is where, like, this enrage of we have to keep the secret of this activity, I guess. And all these really graphic, terrible things happened to them. And then they killed the boys.
I was gonna say, so motive. There's the motive.
Motive, right.
Okay.
Right. And I'm not going to go into all the graphic detail because they do talk a lot about like some of the mutilation and stuff, and I'm not going to get into that. You're free to look it up, but yeah. Now, according to Stewart, he did try to call West Memphis police investigator Bill Sanders to tell the story he had heard from Buddy Lucas, because this is kind of hearsay. Like, people are talking about this, that Lucas is involved in this crime, because it's always been a theory that there had to be more than one person involved, right? Yeah. Well, you've got multiple people, you have a fucking orgy going on. And yeah, like, so Sanders, the police officer, never even bothered to return his phone calls.
Wow.
Now, if this allegation is true, okay, it really, if that's true, and it most definitely sounds like it is, incarceration of 3 almost certainly innocent young men for another 16 years or Beaconwood was the greater tragedy.
Okay.
I know, it's Sad.
Yeah. I can't.
Now, Benny Guy's affidavit tells a similar story. Very much into this whole, like, intimate encounter. There's some changes there, but then they also kind of get into this. It was more of a, they showed up there and Terry was like, I'm just going to beat your ass. And then all these things happened, but it still resulted in killing. But there's still some similarity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Pamela's family has always felt that Terry Hobbs was involved from the very beginning.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
And they would actively accuse him of the murders. Now, according to Terry Hobbs, his brother-in-law, Jackie Hicks, had regularly threatened him for having killed Stevie. Like, he was threatening him all the time. Their dispute ended up coming to a huge argument in November 1994 when Terry struck Pamela and Pamela called her family for help. Terry loaded his .357 Magnum and with hollow point bullets. And when Jackie Hicks Jr. began fighting with Terry, Terry shot him in the gut.
With a hollow point?
Mm-hmm.
Holy.
He survived for 10 more years until he died with a follow-up surgery, and he passed a blood clot during. So Terry technically
follow-up surgery of the wow.
I guess he had to have like a surgery on his lung or something. But during that surgery, he passed a blood clot. But that was 10 years after that event. So you're looking at, that was in 94, 2004. Mm-hmm. Of course, like, the family always.
If you don't know, hollow points, to the listeners, they do some damage. Like, that's, wow. Wow. Okay.
Now, John Mark Byers is our next suspect. Okay. And he's the adoptive father of victim Christopher Byers. And he gave a knife. I don't know why he did this. I'm not entirely sure. But he gave a knife to Doug Cooper on the documentary. And they ended up taking that back to New York with them. And when they got to New York, they discovered that there was some blood on this knife, which is really bizarre. Like, just little trails of it. So he had claimed that this knife had never been used before. So why he gave it to them is really bizarre. I don't know. But he did. And they ended up sending it to police department, right? Because they're like, this needs to be looked into. This is really strange, because he claims he's never used it, but yet there's blood on it. And he tells police, oh yeah, I did use it, got a deal. But when they tested the blood, it was a match to him or Christopher.
Yep.
So why do we have a blood match?
That's weird.
That's very strange, John. Now, they decided to give him a polygraph test, because we also have to, make sense of the fact that if his blood, if it matches Chris's blood, of course it's probably going to also match his dad's blood, right? I mean, genetics, right? So there's that possibility. But they did give him a polygraph, which he did pass. However, it's been brought up that he also was on antipsychotic medication, which can also alter polygraph results.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, so when they give you polygraphs, that measures your heart rate,
your nerves,
and, your nerves and all that. So different medications can affect like your heart rate. I would have to know what he.
It's meant to calm you down and level your head. So yeah, that makes sense.
Well, yeah. So he was on some antipsychotics, so that could alter the polygraph results. Again, I'm not saying he's guilty or anything.
Listen, they all did it together, and that was the cult they were looking for.
Yes, and they messed up. So, remember we talked about teeth in the beginning, the very beginning, the bite mark?
Yeah.
Okay. So, following their convictions, okay, we're going to go back to Damien, Jesse, and Jason. They agreed to do molding of their teeth because Stevie had bite marks on his forehead. And they got the moldings, and what do you know? none of their teeth matched.
Oh, get
Can't
out.
imagine why.
Get
Yeah, none of their
out.
teeth matched that. So no matches were found. Now, right after the trial, John Mark Byers had all of his teeth in 1997. Um, and he would state reasons for the removal, but would contradict himself. He'd be like, "Oh, it's medication related. Oh, I had to do it. So it was giving me this." So we were never able to get a molding of his teeth at
Interesting.
all. But yeah, yeah, that's very interesting. Now, after experts had examined autopsy photos, they happened to notice that there was a belt buckle on Byers' corpse. But remember, he had also said that his dad had whipped him that day with a belt. But I would think that by that time, that belt buckle indentation would have been gone, right?
The indentation, yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you think about, we've all woken up and had like marks, sleeping marks on our faces. How long does that take to disappear? Not very long.
What?
Any indentation, like if you have your knee crossed and your ankle indents into your leg, it doesn't take long for that to disappear. Honestly, probably 30 minutes, if that. Now, if it left a bruise versus an indentation, that's a different story.
Well, Terry Hobbs is dead now.
Yeah.
I don't know what he died from.
Well.
But given all of that, that's the Cliff Notes version of the story. Okay. And I am on the Terry Hobbs train. I 100% believe that he has something to do with this. I don't think he was alone. I think that there was other people involved, but
There's a lot of motives, I think, with Terry.
there is a lot of motive with Terry.
Beating his
And he
mom,
also has,
witnessing multiple things.
well, he also has a violent history. We know
Yeah.
that. So that's who I have always thought is responsible for it. If you all think someone else is. But the bloody Bojangles guy, who is that?
We'll never know. We really won't.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
We'll never know. But that is the story of the
Ooh.
West Memphis Three.
And it's
Yeah,
still
yes,
unsolved. I
and
mean,
it's still to this day unsolved.
Terry had his judgment day, though, and there's only one person that really does know if you believe in it.
Well, it should be called the West Memphis Six. I'll stand by that. I tried to
Yeah.
sum this up the best that I can. I left out a lot that, probably would give you a little bit more insight on what I was saying, but
Yeah.
you're free to look that up. You're free to watch the documentaries. Read Damien's book. The Devil's Knot is a book that somebody commented on one of these videos. I've read that book. I love that book. And it's literally just like what I tell you. Even though there's times that you're reading it, you're like, there's no way that this could happen. It did. That's exactly how they done it. And the police have never apologized to them, and they're never going to
No.
apologize to them.
Nope. And
I
this was
hope they
back
stump
when
their toes every day.
that's going to be their punishment in hell.
Yeah, every day. And a pineapple up their ass.
I was hoping somebody was going to make a reference.
I did. So yeah. I'm sure you have questions.
I
Oh, go
wrote them
ahead. Was you
down.
going to say something first?
No, I was going to say I wrote them down. I'm ready.
Okay. I know. I have never engaged with the girls before. Now, listen, we talk true crime. Y'all, I know people think I'm kidding when I say I'm sitting on the couch and I'm watching something and I'm like, they can't leave me hanging like that. I break out the spirit box and I'm like, I need answers. Like,
Give me
I
them
need
now.
to know. But I have never engaged with them about the West Memphis Three, and I genuinely mean that because I have been waiting for this moment to this episode and get it in real time because there's so much I want to know.
It's a lot.
Like,
That was a
what
lot.
happened? It was a lot. There's
Yeah.
a lot. There's a lot of questions. And like I think that the bloody Bojangles guy, there is a tie to him in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe that. Could it be just some random friend that Terry had? You know what I mean? I know that's weird to
Yeah.
say, but like that just kind of ran away. It's just you
Ooh,
can't
sorry.
tell me that you have three boys missing and this going on at a Bojangle,
Yeah.
given how they were found. It
In the
doesn't
same
make any
night.
sense.
It's weird. That is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me get the spirit box. I'm so excited.
Let's go, ladies.
Oh, they're ready. They are ready.
Look at them back there in their blue light.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Okay. All right, ladies. What's up? Did you hear him?
I
What's
did.
up? All right. Can we talk to you about the West Memphis 3 case? Of course.
Oh. Of
Yeah.
course.
All right, Ash.
All right. My first question was, um, oh God, see, I wrote a question. Don't even this resorts to my notes. Like I don't take notes because you can't make sense of them. I wrote, were there more boys? I'm trying to figure out as to, involved other than the three, but then it shifted because I was writing these questions down as we went on. It shifted. I don't think the boys did it, so that's irrelevant.
Okay.
Was the Bojangles guy related to this case?
Ooh. Okay. All right, girls. Yes. Was the Bojangles guy related to the case? I heard, of course.
I thought I heard sure.
Yes. And then I heard yes. Was he a truck driver? No.
No,
I
I
heard
heard.
no.
Yeah, I heard that clear as day.
Did he reside within West Memphis? Of course not. That was really clear.
Were the boys killed by one individual person?
Were the boys killed by one individual person? I swear that said someone with red hair. I shit you not. Like, that's what it sounded
I'm gonna
like.
have to play it back because
And then I
to
heard
me there was a
Terry.
bunch. You did. Oh, stop! I'm gonna play it back when we get done.
I did. I heard Terry. What did you say? How many people was present at that murder? Three. Did you hear that?
Stop.
Three.
It was clear.
Did
It
you
cut
hear
you off.
it?
Yeah, it cut you off. Huh. Was Terry one of them?
Was Terry Hobbs one of them? I heard no.
I heard no too. I wasn't gonna say. Yeah, it was like a distant no.
Was John there?
Whoa.
Yes.
Jacoby.
What about the Jacoby guy? Was he there?
John.
Yes.
How would they relate to each other? If it's true.
I don't know. I mean, again, right, they could be completely wrong.
Are the boys at least living well now that they're out?
Yeah, is Damien and Jesse and Jason okay? Yes. Do you think, I normally wouldn't do legal, but do you all think that they'll ever be fully exonerated?
I hope so.
I heard, of course not.
I doubt it. It's done. They're done messing with it.
Do
Um,
you just, if they wouldn't have taken the Alford plea, do you think that Damien would have ended up getting put to death? Possibly.
yeah. Jeez Louise. Um, oh God. Vicky.
God.
Did Karma ever come back? I mean, did Karma ever get Vicky?
So let's, yeah, hold on. We'll get to that. I've got one before that. So, did Vicky go in saying that with the hopes of getting a $35,000 reward?
I guess.
Did I heard Vicky? Did you hear
I
that,
did hear
Vicky?
Vicky. I thought I heard it before.
Did the police try to persuade her in any way? No, that was really
Yeah.
clear. No.
Yeah.
Is she getting her karma? Yes.
I just can't believe she said they made her lie.
Did they really have the pictures throwing darts at the police office?
That was my question. I thought I heard
I
yes.
think they're. I swear, at one point you sounded like what? Because I think they're as dumbfounded by that stupid remark as I am.
What about um so did the police truthfully think that Damien, Jason, and Jesse really did it, or was it an easy go-to?
Did the police really believe that Damien, Jesse, and Jason did that? No. Was that just an easy out and like an
Easy way to solve the
yeah.
case. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it just to make themselves look good? Yes.
Yes, that was super clear.
Do they have any regret for ruining their lives? No.
Of course they don't.
No.
Ugh. I think that's all I got. All that I can think of. They were clear and
How
chatty.
many satanic cults did they find driving around on full moons
On Friday nights.
on Friday nights? Did you hear them? They go seriously. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, ladies. You're welcome. Did you hear that?
I know.
It was
They're
like,
great.
you're
I love
welcome.
them.
That was weird. Okay. That's, crazy cool. They were really chatty and really clear today.
Well, again, I think that it's a case that this is one of those where they were convicted because they were different, and it's wrong, and this is where the police are the asshole and not the people that were on the other side.
Somebody's life being put on the line should not be a quick investigation. If you're going to give somebody the death penalty, you need to be sure 100% that you have evidence behind you.
Well, it's situations like this that makes me kind of think, should we do away with capital punishment? You know what I mean? Like it really is. It's situations like this because we do know there have been people put to death for things that they didn't have anything to do with.
100%.
And that has happened.
That's the
And that
downfall to
sucks.
capital punishment, because it does suck, because I do believe that there are terrible people out there that just cannot be rehabilitated that do deserve that. Like, honestly, I don't put up with people being pedophiles. I don't, they're like murderers. like depending on certain situations, like serial killers and stuff like that, like where they literally have no moral compass and it's just a fix for them. Like there are those people, but you can't play with people's lives if you don't. You just can't. So it's a rock and a hard place again, and it's hard because you don't want to take a life that doesn't deserve to have it taken. That's rough.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's rough.
Absolutely. So that is the West Memphis story. I'm very curious to know what
Mm,
your guys' thoughts are, who you think, because there's numerous different theories out there.
lots.
And will we ever actually figure out who the true murderer is? And are they even still alive? Like, it really makes you
Yeah.
wonder. But what, we refer to as the West Memphis Three should be the West Memphis because, granted, three little tragically, brutally murdered. Three lives of innocent people also taken advantage of during all this because they listened to Metallica. And that's literally
I
so.
love Metallica.
I do too. They're
I'm a
going to be in
murderer.
Black. Yeah, they're going to
You're
be
a
in
murderer.
Blacksburg. I really want to go see them. So yeah, but that's our case. And before I tell Ash like what they like give you all what you need to do, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas
Merry Christmas, you
because
guys.
yes. So Merry Christmas. We're very grateful to you all. And we love all the love and support and all the case suggestions. Now, Ash, what do they need to do?
Well, first, before I tell you what you need to do, Jody is absolutely right. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to anybody else that celebrates other ones.
Oh yeah,
Jody and
I
I have
suck. I'm
discussed.
sorry.
Yeah, no, you're okay. Jody and I have discussed also. We're gonna take a break for Christmas since release day is Christmas. It's also my son's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna give you guys that time with your family. Give us that time with our families. And we hope to see you guys the week after in anticipation for the new year. With that said, you need to like, follow, and subscribe to us on most social media platforms. If you like to listen, find us on Spotify. If you like to watch while you listen, find us on YouTube.
Yes, and we will see you, I guess, next year.
Yeah. Will it? Will it be? Yeah.
Will it be next year?
I don't
I
know.
don't know. I'm
Because the
maybe. I
following
don't
week
know.
is New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. So yeah, we'll get back to you. We might take a 2-week hiatus. We haven't discussed. We just discussed Christmas. We didn't get that far.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
make a
They're
post
probably
and let you know.
listening. They're like those dumbasses. Bye, doll babies.
Bye.